Okay, so it is October 9th, and I am all but done sculpting. Can you believe it? I have one little part of the belt that I'm going to sculpt once I actually get the figure painted. Because as you can see, he has the extra part of the belt that kind of comes around, so it's going to be just a quick sculpt. Not a big deal, but as mentioned before, I'd like to paint it before I put that belt on, as we're going to glue it on. So got everything primed, and I'm pretty damn happy with how it turned out. I'll be moving on to probably mostly airbrushing this one, minus the face. It's going to be a lot of airbrush work, really trying to get that armor look going, try to make it as smooth as I possibly can, and obviously things that are a little more rough, like the face, I'd like to do more of a brush technique on. But one thing that was really kind of baffling me was how to do the cape. So if you watched my very first video ever, I mentioned how Greg Sarabia, hopefully I didn't butcher your last name, dude, is one of my inspirations for even just starting doing action figures. And so when it came down to medieval stuff, and not only that, but soft goods on figures, in my opinion, he's the best that there is. So it was crazy. I was racking my brain over what to do, and lo and behold, like, his name popped up on my suggestions for people I might want to follow on Instagram. So I had reached out to him just with some general questions, and he was awesome enough to actually respond and help out. So kind of one of those, you know, full circle moments. It was so awesome that he took the time to kind of help me out. So basically it suggested a high thread count material, anything that's got a lot of threads in it. So it's basically in scale, you know, the bigger the threads are, putting it on a figure is going to obviously make it look a little bit out of proportion. But then basically start to form it over your figure and then paint it. So I was basically using paint, didn't really use any adhesive or anything. And so I got the cloak to where I really think it's going to work well. So it's basically just fits right over. Once the sword and head are on, it seems to want to stay. With that, he didn't have a lot of suggestions on what to do for the fur, so I actually bought some chenille sticks from Hobby Lobby, and actually I just used graphite, per my lovely wife's suggestion, to shade it instead of using paint. So the graphite obviously kind of made its way in there, and it's not obviously coming off as it kind of stained it, so to speak. So I would assume if we went through and washed this, it probably would, but I think it's going to work pretty damn good. I'm pretty stoked about it. I may go through with a little more brown and just lighten it up a bit, but pretty happy with it. So what I'll do is ultimately, once I get this armor piece painted, I'm going to attach it to the cloak too. So basically it'll just fit right on, and then it should be removable. Hadn't quite figured out how to airbrush and film at the same time too, so I'll get some basic airbrushing done. We'll get to touch up and the faces and everything, and starting around the corner on this guy. Okay, I have no idea if this is going to work, but what I did was I drew the eagle or falcon or hawk, whatever it is, the bird, bird, and basically outlined it in silly putty there. So I'm going to airbrush it, pull it off, and see how it turns out. Alrighty, so unbelievably bursting through the painting here. It's amazing how much the silly putty has helped. Initially it seems like it's taking a little bit longer when it comes time to unmasking. Last weekend I was able to bust out a ton of this, so actually ahead of schedule now, so to speak, you know. But basically got the body completely painted. One thing I'm very adamant about is that I believe personally just airbrushing or just dry brushing, I shouldn't say dry brush, but paint brushing a figure is not enough. I believe that a combination of the two is going to really get you the look that you need. So airbrush kind of gives you that too smooth look, while sometimes a paintbrush can give you too choppy, depending on, you know, if you're not watering down your paint or thinning it down enough. So basically went through and touched everything up, did some shading, some dry brushing, some wet brush on everything to kind of get them to this point. So pretty darn happy with how it turned out. The gold was a little too shiny, so what I did is I went through and I stained it, or tinted it I guess you could say, just with black, kind of like I did on the wings last year on the Valkyrie. But you can kind of see there in the side, put shadows where they should be, where it overlaps. On the fronts, even did it on the metal as well, just kind of give it some more dimension, because once you paint everything else it seems to be very monochromatic. So I love how the eagles turned out. Pretty damn happy with that, or hawk, whatever type of bird it is. We've been through this. But got a little bit loose knee here. This one's nice and tight, and then I went through and I tightened up the neck earlier with some of that floor polish, but usually prefer to do that before I paint, but just enough of sculpting and stuff that the neck's gotten a little bit looser. So I'm just going to go through one last time, put that in, and call that good. So it is third week of October here, so next Saturday week from tomorrow is Halloween. Really actually trying to be done this weekend, because like last year I'd like to do something a little bit extra for them if possible, but that all depends on whether I'm done this weekend. So being that this is done, I just need to heat it and clear coat it. That one's pretty much almost ready to go. Did a little bit of wet brushing on the handle here on this sword, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, make it once again not so monochromatic. Shading and tinting here. Gonna completely do this head, and then now that I've got a little time, I'm thinking about possibly making the belt removable again. So we'll see if I can pull that off. Literally, you're going to be able to pull it off and put it back on. But just need to get some hot glue, glue this son of a gun on here, and we are almost there. So I'm gonna quit rambling, and we're gonna go ahead and get these other heads painted, and we are damn near there. Thanks for sticking with me. Just like that, we're done. Just a couple little minor things I have to do. A couple of the heads are a little loose, so just got to figure out how to tighten them up a bit, but not a big deal. So it is Halloween, October 31st. Deadline is tomorrow, so just barely barely coming in. I honestly am shocked he got this much work done in that little time, you know, with a full-time job, 3 kiddos, one of those being an infant. Gotta be a good husband too, all that fun stuff. But getting up at 4 in the morning, you know, for 2.5 months definitely helps. I don't know if my recipient is done yet. Obviously I can't ship until they do, so even if I were to get an address later today or tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to ship till Monday. So what I am hoping to do is you get a horse too, buddy. See if I can move this out the way here. Nothing too major. I just wanted to take this horse and as you see, I've already sculpted a little bit of Procreate on there. I'm going to do the fire logo that he has in his shin guards. See if I can do this without dumping my camera here. Stay up, horse. Something I never liked about these Lord of the Rings horses, they don't quite stand up. So these right here, I just want to do one flame there, and then I'm going to do some chest armor. Basically make it look like it's hooked onto the strap that holds the saddle on there, and then actually attempt to sculpt the bird of prey. Once again, I'm not sure what type of bird it is, but actually do the shape of the logo he has on his chest on the armor, but actually do it like I did the arm guard. So it's going to be, you know, a 3-dimensional layered feathers and everything. So I'll just have that kind of come up and over the horse here. But ultimately, you know, it's going to be quite a bit more work. If I can't pull that off before I have to ship, then he won't be getting the horse, but I think it's going to be just fine. Mainly because, too, I think ship date, the deadline is the 18th, even though we were supposed to be done by the 1st. I think we have then until to ship, but I've got to delay shipping a day or two. I think he'll really appreciate, you know, having a horse. I mean, what's a night without a horse, you know? It's like spaghetti without meatball. Perhaps you prefer lime and tuna fish. Very, very happy with how everything turned out. Obviously, final review, we'll show you the custom little box I made, you know, that looks like this, as you obviously got a quick sneak peek of it earlier, but I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I think easily my cleanest, best figure I've ever done. I hope he really, really likes it. So we will see you all for the final review, and I really appreciate you sticking with me to this point. Secret Santa 2020.